Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live chat. I appreciate it. Take in mind, as we do go along throughout this video from start to finish, you can talk about all kinds of stuff, whatever, and also share your thoughts, opinions, and reactions to this video, okay? If you want to catch up on my latest previous videos to do with the Kenny Veach case, make sure to click down below. There will be a link to the comments section, right? Pinned. That's under control. Today, we're going to be doing another Dylan Rounds discussion from that forum page to continue on. The last time we looked at it, I believe it was page 6. Now we're on page 7, if I'm correct. And it's following Kurt Wadsworth and the beginning of it all as you know, how things unfolded on YouTube. You remember that? If you don't, you can check my past video out. It's just basically a forum where it's people relevant at the time with limited knowledge. We're taking a look back to see the reactions, the thoughts, the feelings towards certain people with time, okay? And as well, the importance is to make sure we've not missed anything whatsoever, because you never know what could be mentioned. And from my own experience, there's been times when looking at that forum where it's enabled more video ideas, theories, and other pathways to go down. So it's very useful, very practical, and it can fill in the blanks along the way. Whether it be for me, because I didn't start covering the case immediately, or for you watching, it might actually help you make a note from the past, right? So it's all there. Also, we need to take a look at the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, see if there's anything mentioned there, because I've not looked, right? And I think we need to check the comments out of the last few videos or so, just to see if there's any like tip-offs, any key information and stuff like that, okay? So there's a range of stuff to get through, right? And we'll move in a consistent fashion. But first of all, need to do something. So this is the thing. Sorry, I shouldn't be stroking my hand like that. Apologies. This is the thing, right? There's been a few people turning up late, right? You know, it just doesn't work like that. It's not supposed to work like that. You don't turn up to class late, okay? You're missing valuable information. You're missing study time, right? Which puts you behind. So when it comes to catching up, it's going to be a lot harder. And I don't think you want that. I don't think you can take that. So each time you are late, you'll be receiving detention, okay? What's that? Yeah, that's just what I thought. Exactly. That's what you get. Naughty, you. Well, this is the thing. I can't compete, right? I'm not a cat, but there's a fair few cats present day to day, which is good. I like cats. Cats are nice. And as for actual cats, they are respectful. I don't know if you're aware. Some people probably will be. But if a cat, like, blinks or winks its eyes ever so slightly, it's a sign of respect to you. And from my own experience, not a single cat has attacked me or ambushed me when I've been out somewhere or on a walk. They don't cause me any trouble, so that's good. But as for the kitty cats, well, it's a good thing they're present because, you know, if there's ever any commotion or chaos going on, that can be resolved, which is all good. Now, you might be wondering what that is. That can be explained. I was drinking a protein drink last night, which was a caramel flavour, and then it dribbled down on me, which is unfortunate. So, anyway, you see this? I don't have kitty cat. I nearly said kitty clit. Oh, fuck me. That's a bit awkward. Kitty cat, right? I don't have claws like that, but I do have this. Little claws. So, any of you start behaving, claw you. Yeah, claw. You like being clawed? Yeah. Up and down the back, boy. Yeah. Last but not least, I'll only say it once. You see this? It's a carrot, right? You see the tip of it like a spearhead. It's going to be spearheaded right into your abyss, right? Right into that hole. Yeah. And it's going to carry on being shoved in. It will not stop. It will not come back out. It will keep on going. And to some people, that might be an exciting experience. But the end of it, no one will want that to happen. What do you think happens when this carrot is inserted? It grows. It sprouts, right? It develops. More grow and more carrots and more carrots. And that only encourages the likes of Maria, who likes her little veggies and her greeny beans, to start clawing away at your stomach, ripping it open to reach the carrot and pull it out. I don't think you want to go through that experience. You know, in the past, the torture methods would be you get like a glass bowl or something. You put a rat under it on top of your stomach so the rat couldn't escape. And then you would heat up the bowl and then the rat would burrow its way into your stomach to get away from the heat and you'd be eaten alive. That was a true device used in the past. But this time we've got carrots and we've got Maria. So you better hope, you better pray that Maria has not got long nails at the moment, right? So since that's out the way, I'm sure you're terrified now. But don't worry. Don't worry. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything. You're fine as you are. Let's head on over now to Find Dylan Rounds. Right, so here we are on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page. Oh, for God's sake, no, there's a carrot there. Oh my God, this is such a coincidence. I can't believe this. Anyway, let's just read this story, okay? So this is by Chester Hulchclaw, and it's actually showing a story from the past with Dylan, which is interesting. He said, thought I'd share a good memory with Dylan Rounds. We were digging spuds in Jerome for Lockwoods. I jammed something up in my chains pretty good, and Dylan came running to help. As he comes running up, he's yelling, "Shit, we hit the jackpot." Oh, short for his name, Chet. Me laying under the digger confused. He pokes his head under and yells, "Carrots!" We must have dug through an old carrot patch. We laughed and laid under my digger, eating those carrots. Good times. So that's interesting, that, just for the simple fact that a past story was shared. Because I understand that the story leading up to Dylan's disappearance is most important, but there's no harm in looking back, further back, right? Just in case it might reveal something. This is just a positive story, but, you know, there might be something darker elsewhere, you never know. Always got to be on the lookout for. So we got that one. And then I believe there might be one more up here towards the top where it's more new. Violin. That's an author. Here we go. Christy. So Christy, once again, not the Christy in the chat though. So she said, listened to Candice Cooley's interview, inspiring, hopeful, organised and thoughtful. I read today that only 50% of murders in the USA are solved. This is the FBI statistics. Keeping a good mind and being able to deal with what happens is her speciality. I really want to see Candice Cooley leading parents in these situations. She is so quick to find the bottom line in matters. I believe she will be bringing her son home, and for the others, they need a leader, especially to navigate social media. Go Candice Cooley. Do you agree with that? You think Candice Cooley is a leader and that she, you know, will bring Dylan back? Okay. So the key thing is about this is listening to Candice's interview. Which one then? I wonder. Okay, so I just typed in no thanks because he's the main guy that has been doing the interviews with Candice Cooley in the past few months. And let's scroll across. Well, there's one there, but is it new or old? Can we go to the latest one? Is it under live? Candice Cooley joins us and talks about how important it is to, I think it's hold information close to one's chest or something. Streamed 1 day ago, 1 hour 41 minutes. So it could be talking about stuff, but here we go. Boom! I predicted that there was going to, I said it a bit too loud then, sorry if I burst anyone's eardrums. But realistically, I said and I predicted that there would be at least one interview / update on the Dylan Rounds case before Christmas coming. And that's exactly what's happened here. I predicted it. And before that, I predicted that there would be a preview to begin with. The preview being that on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, there would be an update of certain information, findings to whatever extent. That exactly happened, where Candice Cooley said there are things going on in the background. We can't release anything at this moment in time. And then it went quiet. And then I was like, well, they'll probably do at least one interview to wrap it up later on. And here you go. There. So, not at this moment in time because I need to make notes, as you know, and analyse it myself. But I will definitely cover this in my own form tomorrow or the day after. Okay? I will make notes and see if there's anything of value or use. If you wish to view it yourself, you can, but I will be making a video tomorrow about it, or the day after, okay? Right, so now on to catching up with the recent comments on my videos. Let's take a look just to see if there's any resistance or if there is anything of value, any new people popping up, any interesting information or links or coordinates. You never know, right? And in addition, the reason why I want to do it here on the spot is because then you'll see my thoughts and reasoning instead of me typing on the keyboard when a video is not rolling, right? You see it on the spot, you see it more raw and more live. And I'll do a poll now just to see, first of all, because there's no harm in asking, do you prefer these like clips where I return back to the comment section of a previous video and respond to questions or add on points? Do you prefer that or not? Okay, feel free to vote now and then I'll know whether to continue it or not in the future, right? So we've got Joseph Lloyd there saying, "Ooh, why does this topic sound so juicy today?" Well, it turned out because we were going to KFC at the time, right? Nella Bella, yeah. Okay. Patsy, Salt Lake, is it salt water or is it fresh water? I'd probably say salt. Christy says rainwater. My God. Everybody clasp your hands and give Christy, including the cats as well, a round of applause. Groundbreaking information there, my God. No one would have ever thought of that, man. Christy, you deserve a Medal of Honor. Anyway, anything else? Around where I live, we get salt water and fresh water, so I was just wondering if that is around that area. Tom Evans says it's sticky salt water. The remnants of Lake Bonneville. Okay. Sticky salt water. That doesn't sound too good, that. Does anyone like sticky water? I've never come across that. What says Patsy? How come no one brought in the cadaver dogs? The young man that's searching all the mines is the only one trying to get one of those dogs. I mean, you got Ty Corbin who has his dog, but I don't think it's a cadaver dog. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's just a normal dog. But yeah, the only other dogs that have been used would have been the cadaver dogs in Montello, Nevada in the past months ago when investigating Brenner's burnt down trailer, when the police went to check, right? That's when they were used. And then the only other time is, I guess, kind of like about a month ago or so, when Candice Cooley, Mob Crew, Chris, Justin, Equisearch and the K9 unit went to the wash. They're really the only 2 times I've seen him properly. As for Lance, he said recently that he's managed to raise $7,000 out of about 11,000 for the cadaver dogs. So, you know, he was acknowledging how, you know, good it is and the progress made. And yeah, done well. Do you think he'll be able to raise the funds in time? I think there's a fair chance that he can. I don't know how long it'll take down the line, but one of those things where if someone's found, well, after that you can start looking for somebody else with the dogs. So they're not going to waste. They've always got their uses, which is a positive. What are responses? Joseph, it probably seems like a big hurdle for most people. I suggested long ago to Lance and Ty to get cadaver dogs. They finally realised it was possible. Not a good thought. The terrain is too vast, I guess. It is. That's why, I guess, using both cadaver dogs and drones can kind of complement one another and make it a bit more efficient, right? Drone footage, the drones which can take the images from the ground, is good because it's got like the full 360-degree angle, I'm sure. So that speeds it up. You can take multiple photos as well and then send them on to be analysed. Okay. Anything else? It's clear. Cowgirl Sally. Imagine Shack Lady making a ice ache. What does that mean? Making a milkshake? Shack shake? I don't know. Smooth Fishing, shout out to him. He has been a long time viewer since the early days of the Kenny Veach case. So it's still good he's present right now. That's good. Glad I live in Tennessee. It was 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I had shorts and a short sleeve shirt on. I can't stand the cold anymore. It seems to be a lot colder in the UK at this moment in time. I think it's lasted longer than usual. And this is the funny thing. All these people bitch on about climate change, saying, oh, it's getting hotter, it's getting hotter, it's getting hotter. Well, how come during wintertime it's colder longer than it has been before in the past? You know, like colder this time for a longer period compared to the past. Christy saying, I missed the premiere. Yeah, well, what a shame. Never mind. What's this? Christy says, why are people so triggered when we talk about people being gay? For fuck's sake. Nobody cares if one is gay. The only importance of knowing it is to find out his friendships or relationships to understand what happened to him. There is no shame in telling a person is gay. People are like, no, you can't say Dylan is gay. We just don't talk about a person being gay. Why? Why are you gay? Who the hell cares? We're free to do and say whatever we want. It's not a disrespect, it's the opposite. It's just considering and respecting the person exactly how he is. No need to be aggressive when it comes to this question. It's all good. Calm down. Referring to people commenting, you go, Christy. But yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world if Dylan is gay or not. But the importance of knowing is, does it tie to Dylan's actual disappearance, right? Because there's fairies and sub-fairies. If Dylan was gay, someone may have not approved of it, which led to direct action to get rid of him. But if that wasn't the case, then it can dispel that theory and get rid of all the other rumours. So it's either leading on to new leads or it's clearing up any BS, which you would want either way, right? Form of progression in a case. So that's why it matters. Brian Reeves. I think Brian Reeves might have been around for a while on my channel. I'm sure I've seen his name in the past. Says, it's amazing how similar the area around Lucin and Salt Lake City is to Phoenix. We don't get to see snow on the ground down in Phoenix Valley because our elevation is only 1086. Salt Lake is 4226. Hopefully we get more info about the wash search from Candy soon. Once the snow melts in Utah, all the washes are going to be active again. So when Brian said that, all the washes are going to be active again, do you mean active for searching, going back, or do you mean active in the washes will be filled up with water because the snow's melted, turn into like liquid? Which one do you mean? Just a question, okay. Okay, move on. Ty Corbyn, you're running out of content, question mark. This was the real Ty Corbyn, by the way. I just said, still a couple to make. And then he said, no problem here. Might try areas close that still haven't been searched, especially areas of high probability. So I don't think Ty's uploaded any more videos since. I might be wrong. I did check yesterday or so. But okay, so he's got some more locations to search out. That's all good. See what happens, etc. I know people were saying recently there's been the odd place Ty's been to which has been a bit sketchy, but it's a shame he didn't have a cadaver dog because it could have really helped. I've heard that. Maybe one of those things where if the case drags on and the likes of Lance manages to raise the money for the cadaver dogs, then maybe that cadaver dog can be used in the areas where Ty's been. Maybe. That may be how they can start communicating with one another again and possibly work together. Who knows? Tom had surgery yesterday. Okay, hope it went well. So that's it for that video. Not too much to discuss, but no harm in looking back. Okay, so now that's out the way, we just looked at these brief parts, it's time to transition on to the Dylan Rounds forum page and continue on to see if there's any interesting information, right? Let's take a look now. So here we are, back again, on page 7 this time, following on from the last one we did. And I just read it to you. Feel free to listen if you want, or if you've got other activities or stuff to do, you can just listen to this auditory, right? It's all about talking and discussing and analysing the information, right? June 15th, still, Grandma Bear says, she can confirm the 26th as there is a credit card receipt for lunch in Montello. Can't confirm the 27th, doesn't know. That's to do with, just before Dylan go missing, going down to Montello, right? And all that, refuelling, etc. Okay, the receipt, the payments made. And then after that receipt, there was no more receipts down the line, even after Dylan's disappearance. So there is still questions about that. I kind of feel that maybe Dylan's card is on Dylan, wherever Dylan is at, right? But you can't track or trace a card from the looks of it unless there was like payments made here and there, but there haven't been. So it does make it a bit more awkward. Guess who responds back to a previous point? Starting to get a feeling that this Kurt dude could be the one we feared. Dylan gave an impression, at least, of having something worth taking. Okay. Good way of... It's a good how they've worded this, right? You could interpret it as money, but as for Dylan, he did not have money on him, or much at all. So the motive wouldn't be that. I mean, I've never really thought about it too much, but I did hint at it here and there, that is there a possibility that Kurt was jealous of Dylan due to what Dylan had, or what Dylan was going to have in the future, based off his age and stuff? Was Kurt just simply impressed? Jealous or impressed? Where do you think? The key thing is after Dylan's disappearance, the farm is how it is. Vehicles and stuff have been taken away, right? In possession of police, etc. Police protection. As for the grain shed, it is how it is. Just left there. Not much else has happened. There's not been new developments on the land. Nothing has been built or pulled down. As for Kurt's vehicles, they're still out there. So it's not like some kind of elaborate plan to take Dylan out and then take over the area. That has not happened. So, I mean, as for Kurt, the problem is with Kurt Wadsworth, you could spend 6 hours listening to him talk, right? And you mention all the theories, you analyse every point, question it. But then the next day, he might do another interview for 2 hours and it undoes everything. Undo, better wording. I can't talk. It's a waste of time, basically, right? The following day. It's like, well, it's just undone everything that was spoken of the day before. And you don't want that, right? You don't want to go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. You can make the mistake of doing that and then learn from it. But I already know how it's going to go because I've experienced it in the previous case, right? Where you look into something or someone and then it just ends up being written off afterwards. So that's the problem with Kurt Wadsworth. I mean, if he stayed sober long enough, then maybe you could establish some kind of consistency, but that just does not seem to be the case, right? Has Kurt Wadsworth shown up on any more of my live premieres recently? I don't think so. Supposedly, he showed up in one of my past live video premieres. Supposedly. His profile picture, I think, was of a chihuahua or some kind of dog, yappy bitchy one. Profile picture, visual quality very blurry, so it wasn't that great. And he was, I think, criticising my image or my profile, and it's like, fix yours first before you start having a go at me. Same with a recent guy or so in one of my previous videos complaining, I guess about the room or something or the visual look, and it's like, well, before you start complaining and opening your mouth, why not turn your head, sit down in that chair and fix your haircut because it's shocking, right? Let's move on. What's this? Talking about Duty Ron again. Okay, I just hit the part where Duty Ron did name the case and mother/parents that don't react right, I guess. And I agree, it is uncalled for and was not necessary. Not impressed by that. All right. So what? So Duty Ron called out Candice Cooley for not reacting the right way. Is that true? Seems to be how it's worded here. I mean, countless people have pointed that out, not reacting the same exact way. Not an issue, it's an observation. But I guess maybe some people are a bit more critical and criticise Duty Ron more because they think Duty Ron should act a certain way and have a certain mindset because of the position he was in the past to do with the police. Well, who knows? Let's carry on. What's this? And yet he owns a backhoe. Yeah, supposedly. Kurt owns a backhoe. Now, backhoe. I'll be honest. What does a backhoe mean? Is it land behind a grain shed? Backhoe. Does anyone know what that means? I have heard it recently. What's this? I mean, as for the backhoe, it's been brought up because people have been saying, well, if Kurt owns a backhoe, then maybe that needs investigating and searching. Maybe someone's been placed there, right? Now, I guess the other thing you've got to take in mind, and we might as well mention it right now. Yes, the area of Lucerne is vast, but there are a fair few areas of land which is owned by many different people. So there'll be areas where you can't go on because of trespassing. So the question I put towards you, whoever disposed of Dylan, providing it was somewhere in Lucerne, let's say, do you think the suspect or suspects, I'll do it as a poll as well, do you think they took it into mind that they can't bury Dylan here, hide Dylan there because it's not owned by them, the land? They don't want to be done for trespassing. They don't want the owners deciding to dig up the land in the future and then find the body. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that the suspects were more likely to dispose of Dylan, such as in Lucerne, areas, land owned by themselves? You think that's a possibility? Let me know your thoughts. We'll do it. I said, make sure to vote in the poll, because, there's no harm. See what you think, because you might narrow it down, right? Because I know you could say, well, someone has already taken out Dylan. Are they really going to care that much? Well, first of all, they must have cared to a point to be able to hide Dylan for this long, first of all. Second of all, if they don't want Dylan to be found, right, and they don't want to get in trouble, then they'll probably put him somewhere only they know or have access to or rights to. So they own some kind of land somewhere, that might be where they put Dylan. Because if anyone else tried going on that land, it'd be classified as trespassing and they wouldn't be allowed on it, right? For the most part of it. And you couldn't get someone just walking along and then starting to dig up the land because that wouldn't be correct either, unless it was them themselves. So that's the only thing I just wanted to bring up, okay? She, who must not be named, says, I think Grandma called him. They keep saying it the other way around, but in one interview, Mom did say Grandma called, and Dylan said he couldn't talk because he had to get the truck in. Because you're right, it wouldn't make sense for him to call her only to say he couldn't talk. Well, from the looks of it, that's incorrect. Because Candice said in a later interview that Dylan made the call at 6:51 a.m. at the gate leading up to the grain shed, okay? Just wanted to notify people, just reach out. He's been known to briefly make a call to a family member and then walk away, hang up shortly afterwards. It's a normal thing for him, and the family are used to that. Okay? What's this? He didn't outright say it, but yes, it was pretty easy to figure out. He said her first name. What's that to do with? Candice, I assume. Okay. Yes, I'm definitely not a fan of this guy or vloggers in general. Just wanted to get the info out about Dylan's case on her. I'm just trying to think, how did I come across this forum in the first place? I can't remember. Anyway, I think there was something in one of the videos, but I can't remember for sure. I want to say that the grain was fine, but I'll have to find it in the video. Possibly because the number belongs to an adult. The femme. Fair enough. They've said that they did. Okay. What's this one? The owner of the bar Dylan was at is also one of the only people officially interviewed by LE that we know of, at least. So the owner of the bar, Kurt Wadsworth. Huh, interesting. Very interesting. Is that true? Bear in mind, I've looked at a range of stuff within the case, but I've not heard anything about proper interviews. Because as described by Candice Cooley, no one has been properly interviewed by police. No press conferences, no one's name has been cleared. As for Brenner, the last time they interviewed him was probably June 16th, and not made any attempts since. So, what, Kurt Wadsworth's been interviewed by the LE? Is that true? It's the first time I'm hearing this. I mean, yeah, Kurt Wadsworth's been interviewed by Salty Pancakes, informal interview, and maybe appearing on the Shack Lady as well in recent time. Maybe Jim Terry as well, TV. I've not heard anything about the LE interviewing Kurt Wadsworth. Huh, interesting. Seems like transactions confirm he was there Thursday in relation to Dylan. But Kay's story, meaning Kurt Wadsworth's story, is the only thing saying he was there Friday. So now they're not sure because of the other things that have transpired. Why would you tell a story that he was being held for shits and giggles to try to get money because you're on drugs and you can't keep anything straight anyway? So that's calling out Kurt Wadsworth. Interesting. Let me just try and read back over that. So it says, Kurt Wadsworth's story is the only thing saying he was there Friday. So not Thursday. Weird. But he was there Thursday because of the receipt. Proof of that. And Kurt would know if Dylan was there on Thursday, because where else would Dylan stay, right? That's, I guess, the first thing you got to bring up. So on that Thursday, which would have been the 26th, honestly, where did Dylan stay at? Because he left on the 27th, right, to go back to his farm. So where did he stay? Was it in the motel? Because there is a room and a bed at the motel. And that's at the gas station, I think, or nearby. There are trailers. There's other like buildings around, but are they going to know Dylan? Not really. But Kurt is friends with Dylan, so I assume stayed in the trailer there. That's all I can think of. So for Kurt to be like, oh yeah, Friday, but not mention Thursday, it's like, why did you not mention Thursday then? You got a short memory? Surely you'd know if he stayed at yours. What are you hiding? What happened on Thursday night then? Did something happen on Thursday night which then drove Dylan to get away on the following day? Who knows? There have been talks, obviously, about Kurt's trailer, I believe, like being bleached. Was it Taylina, that the daughter, that bleached and cleaned Kurt's trailer, or was it Kurt himself? Is it a normal thing to do? Completely do a deep clean like that? Well, maybe. I mean, you look at the area, Montello, you see how dusty it can get. It's like in the middle of a desert, right? No harm in cleaning a bit, but I don't know. Like if everything has been bleached, that seems a bit excessive, right? It'll differ from person to person, because you compare that to Dylan Rounds. Dylan Rounds' trailer wasn't bleached and hasn't been cleaned for some time from the looks of it. If you leave the door open, it can get dirty pretty quick regardless, right? You're fighting a losing battle to keep it clean, just like with the vehicles out there. So I'll do a poll right now. Do you think Kurt Wadsworth trailer being bleached is kind of suspicious? Yes or no? I believe if it was suspicious, then it couldn't have been it couldn't have been Kurt taking out Dylan there at that moment, because there was that witness that saw Dylan the 27th late at night at Dylan's farm. Dylan himself in the tractor, right? But I guess what you got to highlight is people have questioned here and there saying, yeah, but did anyone actually see Dylan in the tractor? From the looks of it, no. But they saw a tractor in the dark with the lights turned on, and it was moving. It was being operated by someone. But because Dylan wasn't exactly seen, you could argue and say, well, how do we know it's Dylan? Maybe Dylan was hurt, killed, taken out earlier on. Or maybe in Montello the day before. You never know. Well, all I would say is, who else would be doing farm work that late at night in the dark? Honestly, who else? And why would they be doing it on Dylan's land? Are they doing Dylan a favour? I just can't imagine that. Only Dylan would be the type of guy to do that at night, there, at that spot, because it's his land, of course. So, unless, how do you word it? Unless Kurt Wadsworth tried making a move on Dylan the day before, or earlier on in the day, the 26th or the 27th, maybe. That's all I can think of to why it would be bleached. Why do you need to bleach the whole place out? Like maybe fingerprints, Dylan's DNA? And even if it wasn't that, if it was some kind of plan or some kind of setup, who knows? Maybe Kurt wanted to get rid of any traces of Dylan, so it couldn't be linked back, so people couldn't say, oh, so Dylan's been in your trailer recently, and then the police start investigating and then find something, or find something unrelated. Could be drugs, or it could be something else illegal. I don't know. Does it get deeper? Really? That's the question. And I guess the other thing is, with the trailer being bleached, has it been bleached before? Is it a regular thing, what they do over there? Do they do it once a year? Or is this the first time they've done it? Is it an irregular pattern? That's what you got to ask yourself. Yeah. I think we'll leave it like there, open-ended. If you want to add on with your own points and thoughts, feel free to do so. Is there anything else to say here? Not really. Okay. This goes on to say, or if he did call Grandma, maybe he just needed to ask a question, quick one, but just didn't have the time to chat. regardless, this is a documented missing person, so I think in that case it clearly isn't what? No sin nonsense? I didn't know how you spell nonsense. And red tape shouldn't stop assistance when they have the very account holders request permission. Wait, when I say red tape, do they mean like red tape in terms of being silenced and corruption from above? Or using red tape in a different way? What I am saying is that they do not do it for the account holder at all, not text transcripts. They do not know what is just no sins versus real concern without LE intervention. LE is who has to request the warrant. Why the show's deputy hasn't done that is a real question. This is one. I thought she called him and he cut it short because he needed to move the truck. Yeah, correct. I watch a lot of YouTubers who investigate old mining caves. I wonder if there are any out there from that area. I'll have to search YouTube later when I have some time. Well, Scott Natal's been present kind of in the area. Likes of Mountain Labs Fortress, Alan too. I believe Les Natal as well. Ty Corbin, Lance, although they've not been doing it in the past, but they're probably doing it more now, right? So there's a handful of people, which is good, right? In different areas. Do you think we'll ever see the inclusion of people further afar joining on in? Possibly. I don't know. Like, am I right in saying that the Dylan Rounds case has been covered by, a certain group of people, a certain amount, and that's how it's remained? And you've not really had, like, big YouTubers coming on in yet. Am I correct in saying that? I mean, there might have been like one or two much bigger channels covering it. I think there was like a woman or something with blonde hair and maybe glasses. I can't remember what her username was on YouTube. She's covered it once or twice. But you've not really seen it in like the Watch Mojo top 10 mysteries or missing people, or the Explore With Us channel covering Dylan Rounds. Ewu Crew. You remember them? Ewu Crew. Do you remember how it went a bit weird, how the original people ended up going quiet or moving on to doing other stuff? What were they called? Emma? And what was the father called? I can't remember. But yeah, I think they started hiring other people to make videos on their channel. And then at a later point, the original Ewu Crew created a new YouTube channel about their adventures. I think it was like in a new SUV or maybe a Dodge car. Can't remember. And then I think that channel got took down, or the video did, because the link no longer works. Very odd. Do any of you remember that Ewu Crew and how it all went kind of mysterious and quiet in a way? But yeah, even like number 5, his channel not covered the Dylan Rounds case. The other top 10s, Dark 5, Dark Matter, that YouTube channel, the UK guy. It's just things like that. But by the way, although it's not that active, the videos are quite spooky in a way, have an atmosphere to it. So like the likes of Cleo, who said she wants to come across new channels and look at. Well, to anyone who's interested in dark stuff, mysterious footage, strange coincidences with 9/11, etc., and also cold, spooky interviews with serial killers, make sure to check out the channel Dark Space Matter. Okay? When I said space, I mean pressing the space bar. Dark Matter. Make sure to check that out. Okay? But yeah, as for the big YouTubers, they've not come in. I think what tends to happen, if the Dylan Rounds case turned into a cold case, turned into just a mystery never solved, that's when all the big YouTubers come on in. You'll have the true crimers, the true crime channels, the channels where a female will talk whilst applying makeup and lipstick, Girl, I don't even need to do that because I'm already pre-made up with my face as soon as I begin this video. I have my priorities straight and in the narrow. Yeah. Sorry about that. You get the idea. I think true crime channels are kind of smaller than the mystery channels, right? Is that correct in saying? The mystery channels can like cover 2 to 5 to 10 different cases in one video, whereas the true crime channels tend to focus on a case study, a singular case, and go deep into it and then move on to the next one. I think there's different levels of growth and establishment there, right? So maybe if the Dylan Brown's case was to go cold, then you'd get all the other big channels coming on in all of a sudden, right? You might get, what was it, Nexpo coming in. You might get Lazy Masquerade coming in, or Mr. Nightmare coming in, or is it Corpse or something, and all those channels, possibly. Anyway, you see the videos I've looked at previously, you can tell. What is this? I've seen this happen before in missing person cases. It's part of their privacy policy to do with the phone. Okay, fair enough. I thought I heard the mum say it was parked in the barn and covered. The grain truck, I suppose it was parked in the barn, and then it was taken back out and not parked back in during June the 2nd spring cleaning as Brenner drove the vehicle out and back in and reversed it. Now, I don't know if it was supposed to be a singular video. Oh my God, I think my memory has caught up after days and maybe a week. Yes, Christy. I don't even know why I'm saying shout out to you because you're not actually telling me right now or reminding me, but technically you've reminded me without you actually reminding me that I've reminded myself that we need to take a look at that theory you mentioned previously about the grain truck being used. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So that'll be a miniature video coming up. It'll probably be like a map analysis based one, right? Just for the sake of it. And I can kind of like put it into place, into idea. It probably will be a small one, but there's no harm in doing it. And it's a map analysis, the ones you like. So yeah, we've got that covered. And I'll remind myself anyway when I watch this back. So, you know, it's all good. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now. What's this? Watch out. Some kinds of rumours circulated in the Brittany Drexel case and it was false information. But same in Holly Bobo's case and those rumours were true. Just keep ourselves in check is all. Okay. Okay. Oh, actually, have we read this one out before? So now, a Kurt who I gather owns Saddle Saw. Okay. She also said Kurt worked for Dylan sometimes. Right, okay. So I'm not aware of these cases listed by Kimster, but if any of you know about the Holly Bobo case or the Brittany Drexel case, let me know if you agree with Kimster in how there is kind of similarities with Kurt Wadsworth and Dylan Rounds. Because this person seems to be tying them together in a way. So, like the rumours, which end up being lies, right? And that can apply to Kurt Wadsworth because Kurt has supposedly lied and changed the story backwards and forwards in the interviews, the informal ones, right? But then they're saying in the Holly case, the rumours actually were true. So maybe some of the rumours in the Dylan Rounds case are true as well. There's a thing. It's trying to determine what's right and what isn't. And is that easy? No. But if any of you know these other cases, the other missing people, list it down below and let me know your thoughts if you think there is a link in some way when it comes to the information being passed about. Because this is the thing. If you can look at a previous case, whether it be to do with, you know, how the person went missing, or the type of suspects involved, or the types of patterns of behaviour, and how information was processed, you know, or the themes around it all in general. If you can apply that to the Dylan Rounds case, it could help, right? Kind of like how there's been a bit more time efficiency when it's come to making these Dylan Rounds videos, in my experience, because like I've said countless times, with Kenny Veach, this happened and that happened, this person showed up, then that person disappeared, this info appeared a bit odd, that didn't. Learning from that, I was able to apply it to Dylan Rounds. So I was able to, I don't know, dispel some of the time wastage, right? And to be able to handle resistance differently now. You know what I'm saying? So if you can see patterns within other cases, previous ones or ongoing, and they apply to Dylan, list it down below because it could help. What's this? Yeah, I wonder if he was sought out or he inserted himself into the investigation and with the family. Why is he lying or confusing things or feeling the need to come up with such things? That's to do with Kurt Wadsworth. Perception is everything, and maybe Dylan appeared to have means, or his family did. His mom talked like both parents are not in financial need, and his dad, it sounds like, did finance much of Dylan's life. Truck in his name, gun, phone, etc. Maybe he represented that they had money, as youth will sometimes do, in that they own a lot of acres. He bought some more, etc., etc. As for doing the books and the invoices, supposedly it was Candice Cooley, but I can't remember where I heard it from now. Was it the Shack Lady? Was it on Salty Pancake Stream? It was somewhere where a person mentioned that there was another woman that was doing the accounting or something for Dylan. Don't know who that name of the person is. Do you remember that? I just remember it being roughly talked about. I don't know the actual significance of it. Whether they're saying about that other woman doing the accounting for Dylan, they're in some kind of relationship, or maybe it led to Dylan going missing. I don't know. It was just brought up briefly. But if it can be clarified, explained, elaborated, feel free to do that down below. What's this? Okay, caught up on the Kurt rumours now. When they tell stories like this, a million red flags pop up. Yeah, okay. The mother said the tarp had holes in it, but that regardless of any tarp. If it's raining, the grain should be indoors. She went on to say that part of the reason for backing in, which is how the grain truck was found, is to protect the load from any leaks from the roof and I imagine through the door. Yes, they've looked through the load of grain and the sand pile. Sand pile, also known as the dirt mound, also known as the burning pit. It's the same exact thing, right? Just with different names. As for the grain shed, that's transitioned with time. Being called a shed, a grain shed, Dylan Rounds shed, even though he didn't own it, and in recent time, the pole shed. Now, at some point, I think it was Ty Corbin that called it the pole shed, and I think some other people have mentioned it as well since. When I heard that, I thought, what the hell's the pole shed? Some pole dancing class? Like, this is what I mean. When you get these different names for the same spot, it gets very confusing. Just like how you've got a person called Jim and then another person called Jim. And it's like, who's Jim? Jim Terry? Jim Brenner? Which one's which, right? That's why you got to be a bit more specific at times. So basically you got the grain shed, the pole shed. It's the same exact thing as what we've been looking at with that dirt mound is nearby where Brenner used to stay on that land and squat, right? Just in case anyone was confused. Just in case. You never know. But the other reason why the grain truck was like reversed in is because the grain shed isn't big enough to store the whole vehicle. The front of it supposedly sticks out. So that doesn't matter if that part gets wet. As long as the load in the back is dry, which it would have been, that's all that matters. Okay, I understand that. The question I have is, so when it rains, you park it in the grain shed. What happens during winter time? Where do you put the grain truck or the seeds? Do you take them away to somewhere where it's warmer to protect the seeds? Or do you just leave it in the grain shed? What do you guys think? Because we've not really seen that. Like, if Dylan went missing around winter time or just before winter was coming, would Dylan have parked his grain truck in the grain shed, or would he drove it somewhere else so it could be kept warm? I don't know. And as well, as for this grain shed, they're saying about doors. I've never seen doors on the grain shed. It's always been open. And I've not seen any hinges. I've just not seen any indication of doors or sliders. Do any of you know? Like, I guess we can do a quick poll now, just to see who knows what. And if you don't know, you can vote the I don't know button. But, taking in mind if you have looked at previous video clips and interviews, the poll now is, did the grain shed have doors on the sides? Did the grain shed have doors? Yes? No? I don't know. Feel free to vote now. Is it a big deal? Maybe it could apply to something. I can't think exactly on the spot. Maybe someone being locked in the shed, let's say, shutting the doors so no one can look inside. That's all I can really think of at this moment in time. But just to clear up my questions, if like Ty Corbyn is present right now, or Salty Pancakes, did the grain shed, also known as the pole shed, have any doors on them? Anyway, carry on. Grandma Alberta says, odd they'd keep saying he called her, maybe she called him, he missed the call and called her right back, quick, saying he couldn't talk or something like that. This Grandma Bear, my God, last time she was all about alcohol, constantly referring back to alcohol. But what about alcohol? But what about alcohol? But what about the bar? It's like broken record. Now it's about, but what about the call? What about the call? It's like, calm down. Anyway, yeah, by the end of the video, Duty Ron named the case and family. Not necessary, I agree. These channels do get these cases out there and keep attention on them, so I will say that. Dylan's mom was probably happy to have the support, and again, they are partnering pretty heavy with Texas Equisearch. They are raising money for them and families all of the time on this channel. I saw something about the grain being okay as well. By the end of the video, I did hear the grain was checked or read. It's somewhere, and you confirm it too. Good to know that. I don't know, even if the phone belongs to an adult, it is all technically his dad's. There is a missing person here, and they have the account holder, their customer, needing the info in a timely, quick fashion. Doesn't seem right and seems unnecessary. Now, I'll just raise it as a point, not tied with this, but just to credit people in the past, like so that the fairies or the names don't fade out. People have said about, what about the tanks out there? I don't know if they said a septic tank or some kind of oil tank, some kind of tank that maybe Dylan was placed in one of them. Is that a possibility? I'm not quite sure. Had they been checked and searched, all tanks and tankers in the area? I don't know. You'd think so, you'd hope so, if other things have been searched. But, you know, I mean, there's equipment out there. I have seen like those white tanks, but I don't know if they're big enough in size to be able to fit Dylan in. You know what I'm saying? If there's a wide opening or not, that's a question in itself. But I just wanted to highlight that other point, that theory, because, you know, not many people talk about it. So, you know. Okay. Well, Dylan is missing. Maybe this story has parts of it that are true, or he is trying to throw things in another direction or suspicion onto others. I thought it was said that Kurt's dad is the bar owner. Well, yeah. Okay, so hopefully that was of some use. Let me know in the comment section if any information presented in this video, such as in that forum, was new to you. Okay. If any other questions, thoughts, opinions down below, make sure to list it down below in the comment section. But before you go, do not go anywhere. Okay. Do not go anywhere, because what we need to do is just to highlight, because I didn't quite do it in my last video, because it was to do with the Kenny Veach case, so it didn't quite fit in. But A quick shout out to Maria because of their presence in a video or two ago with the super chat. It was good of them for what they did. So because of Maria and what she did, I'll play a quick clip now to honour her, okay? So yes, that was me doing that singing, okay? I do have another one. I've just not uploaded it yet. It was like another high pitch one. Previously, what you saw there, that was me doing outwards, kind of like opera outwards, how you would, the ah. But the unreleased clip, another one, I did inwards, where you can make the noise inwards. It seems like a higher pitch than if you used to do it outwards. So let me know if you notice the difference whenever that clip does come out, okay? But yeah, shout out to anyone else present right now who might have made a presence, who knows. As for Gorilla Jack, maybe down the line we'll hear more news about him, hopefully. Hopefully there's like a second storybook coming, right? It would be good to see that. And yeah, I just go and do some things, got to do exercise now. I think the only other thing I need to try and do, which I've not quite done yet, is just like make the videos earlier on in the day. So it's not like rushing last minute. That's just the only thing I need to do. I mean, the odd exception times where it's been done later on in the day is because, you know, it's been busy earlier, or if you've been like researching a previous video to make notes of, where they can be like an hour or two long, which is probably what I'll be doing tomorrow or the day after, as I said, with that interview. See how it goes. But yeah, let's just say, to some people that watch some of these more recent videos, people might question and think, well, what's the actual point of them? Like, it's just looking back, or it's just randomly talking. Well, it's keeping the case alive, first of all, right? That's the most important thing. You can't be covering breaking news every single day. That just wouldn't be possible. It doesn't happen like that for most part of it. With most cases out there, it'll be maybe a week or two of information, then it goes quiet. Fast forward on, then you get another burst. It's burst. But in between those bursts, it's silent, just like with other cases. So you try and fill it in between. And also, you know, it's not just about keeping the case alive, but it's also about sharing the stories with people on your channel who follow you, so then they know and learn about it as well, because they might not have the time or the knowledge or the guidance of by themselves to go here and go there and know about this and know about that. They're not. Exactly like with the Kenny Veach case, right? People that came over onto my channel because of covering Dylan Rounds, because that's what they've been involved with. When I transitioned back to Kenny Veach, some of those people are like, whoa, what's going on here? I don't even know what's going on. Like, you can probably research it yourself, but it's like, where would you go? And that's why you've got the playlist, right? The playlist on my channel, which you can look up and use it as guidance, right? So there's several reasons. I mean, like, what's the thing? If you're covering an active case and you tell it from the start, mainly because you're just getting involved for the first time, you need to know what it's all about. So you almost like do a run through, like a practice, a test run, right? So you learn about it as you're beginning covering the case. And so are the viewers, but you get criticised for regurgitating information without including the new latest information, right? But if you're just covering it for the first time, trying to get involved, like, if you skip ahead to catch up with everyone else, then you forget and miss out on all the previous stuff. Then it gets a bit tricky, doesn't it? When I started the Dylan Brown's case, I just kind of looked at an article online, first of all, to see if there was a timeline or some kind of order of events. I'd say, for advice, if you're going to cover a case, a mystery case, and it's like already ongoing and you want to be able to catch up quick, I think the best thing to do to avoid resistance is by trying to look online somewhere, online, an article, a news report, a video on YouTube, somewhere, anywhere that basically tells the story up to now as a timeline summarized, so you can fast track your way to catch up with everyone else and learn about the past. And then once you're on track, then you can start looking at newer things and thinking outside of the box, right? Which other people aren't doing. And then if it comes to a head, if it comes to a dead end, then you can look back in detail at all the stuff that's been summarized, which you can then question more of, right? Kind of like what I'm doing right now within the Dylan Brown's case with like the Kurt Wadsworth situation back in June, because I wasn't around in June, I don't think. I think I started July, possibly. So you get the idea. That's why I look back myself. So I think that summarizes that. I think the only time when you've got a free pass is when it comes to a cold case, a mystery that's ended, and you're picking it up from the ground and telling the story once again and then developing it, which not everyone does. You know what I'm saying? So there seems to be, it's acceptable to do this here, but not in an active case, but you can in a cold case. It's kind of weird. Yeah, some people are just a bit picky as well. But yeah, that's it for now. Leave your thoughts down below, whatever it may be, or questions, or if you've got any video request or some kind of theory to look at within this case, feel free to do so. I know you've got that Moscow, Idaho thing going on. I mean, I could try and make an attempt to cover it or cover something. Bear in mind, what I just said before is probably the method I would maybe try and apply with this Idaho Moscow case with those younger people. I'd have to look at a timeline or some kind of summary or some kind of rough article. You know, like with the Quinton Lewis, is it? The Quinton Lewis case. Although that's technically progressed, you know, onwards, right? The mother arrested, not pleading not guilty. Quinton's remains found. And I basically joined late, right? But I just briefly covered the odd article just so you would know about it. Maybe you know more than me because you might look at more cases than I do, since I only look at one at a time. But, you know, just to see how things go, because, yeah, it's one of those things. If you're able to cover a new case, right, and enough people can follow on over, right, that's a positive, and then you just keep it going. And as well, if it's got like similarities with how you can cover the case, that really does help, so you can expand further. Maybe the Moscow, Idaho one is possible. You could say my stubbornness with covering just one case limits me, but you know, if I'm up, down, all over the place, you don't really settle as much. It's not as stable, so it's better just to focus on one thing at a time. But, you know, I guess you can splash into other waters and just test and see how it goes, right? I'll think about it, okay? So thanks for watching. We'll leave it there for now. We'll see what happens next, of course, within the Dylan Rounds case and maybe other cases too. And yeah, good night for now and goodbye.